All right. Well, hey everyone, it's Rebecca Ruth. Thanks for tuning in and listening here today. Today, my guest is Gretchen Sutphin. Did I say it right? I
Yes,
said
you
it
did.
right. Hi, Gretchen. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. So, I like to jump right in. So, go ahead and tell everyone where you are and what you do in the industry.
Well, here in Richmond, Virginia, I actually come from a very mixed background, I guess, a little bit, corporate-wise, career-wise. But currently, right now, I own my own business, have for about 5 years, been 3 years full-time. I'm the fairy tan mother. So I am a professional spray tan artist. I'm mobile. So I actually go to people's homes, locations, things like that, and I provide a professional spray tan. Sounds a little funny because I actually come from, I was a corporate underwriter and I did all sorts of things of that sort, and got a little tired of it. And actually, my other background is I was actually I did production management and styling for Donna Baldwin Agency in Denver, Colorado. So I did that for about 5 years. I like the behind scenes type of person. I want to make sure everybody's where it's supposed to be, how they're styled and things of that sort. I don't like to be, I like to make other people pretty. I like to put them out there and be like, yes, that's what I did. That was my work. Um, so, I've done everything from, the merchant shows through the Denver marketplace to, we've done couture up in Aspen, and, I've styled a couple, album covers and different things like that. So that was back in the day. And again, I got back, into a little bit of the creativity side of it. Um, Mostly, I love the fashion world. I love the beauty world. I was that little kid that wanted the Bob Mackie Barbie instead of the regular one. And the only thing was I didn't like the disconnect, especially when things were fundraising, when it was a fashion show, but it was like supposed to be an awareness campaign or something. But I didn't see, I'm like, so where's the money? Where's the awareness? Like, what's going on? Like, what are they really doing? And when I moved back to Virginia, I actually, it was funny, I was able to take all of that production experience I had and create programs for underserved populations. For about 6 years, I worked for Capital One and Chesterfield Schools, and I built a lot of programs through that. And so that's where my anal retentive and control freak part of me wanting to do those programs came out. And it was great. We did really well. But it still lacked a lot of the creativity, and I wanted to get back into the beauty part. And I got my master's in PR before, and then still wasn't enough. It just really wasn't. It was still corporate. And I'd done this on the side before, spray tanning. Actually, backstory, stopped like going out in the sun in my 30s. I did one of those lights that show you your skin damage. Yeah, I stopped. And I when I came back to Virginia, I found that there was like no one that really understood it and was like, oh yes, I'm a spray tan artist. There was people like, oh, I can give you a spray tan, or go stand in this booth or something. And I wasn't interested in being an esthetician. I wasn't interested in doing hair. I loved makeup, but I was like, you know, like it was more to that. And I just thought it was unique, and I just love spray tans. I just love the fact that like I can spray tan any skin color and be able to create an effect and a glow. And I can put gold in, I can add violet, I can do, that's why a lot of people don't think, they're like, oh, it's just, I mean, I'd say it is for like pale people. Like, I am one of those people, yes. Okay. But I can change skin color. Someone who has much more olive undertone can have a more mahogany, or I can create more of a different tone. Or for a photo shoot, I can put gold flecks in. I can put sheen in. I can do all sorts of things. So I love it because your body literally is my artwork. So it's sort of fun. So, and that's sort of where I am. But now I'm a student at Boston University getting my master's in social work. I'll be an LCSW, clinical therapist. And not like I don't already provide a little bit of therapy for my clients anyway. It's like a hairstylist, like everybody tells me everything.
Yep.
Yeah, they definitely tell me everything. So, but I enjoy that part. But I wanted to be able to blend the two together a little bit, even if it's two different businesses. But I do try to, I'll even do some philanthropy through certain organizations or a boutique or something. And I'll do like a pop-up or something, and we'll take some of those funds and actually donate it to a service or something of that sort. So it's a fun way of giving back directly, which is what that's what I wanted to do.
Right. Okay. First of all, I have some questions about the spray tanning because, of course, I have dark skin, clearly. So I never understood the concept and the obsession with going out and getting, spray tan. And I actually had one of my friends in undergrad, she's Caucasian. She woke me up on a Saturday morning very early to ask me if I wanted to go tanning with her. And I wasn't very nice about it because I was like, why would I want to go tanning? I'm already Black. So I don't want to go tanning. But now you're saying that any skin color. So I guess the question for me is, me already being dark skinned, what would be the advantage, or what would be the appeal to getting spray tan?
Okay, so first of all, a spray tan is not giving you melanin. Okay, it's doing nothing. It is a tint. It's like henna. Okay, so like my eyebrows are henna. Okay,
oh, that's cool.
So I know. Again, there's very little on me that has not been altered. So anyway, so it's a dye. Okay, so spray tan, at least the one I use. Okay, the one I use is an organic formula. It's actually made of sugarcane and beet juice. Okay, it's a dye. It's a protein enzyme. It's a very dark dye. Okay. If I were to take it out of the bottle and just pour it on my hand, even if I immediately rinse it off, it would dye my hand. Okay. Wow. It's a protein and it loves skin. Okay. So the color, the basic color that I use on most people is a red mahogany color. Okay. So think about this. When you wear makeup, you put on the same, in other words, you're going to put a tone on you, even when you have darker skin, that's going to either give you a reflection, right? It's going to look good in the camera. It's going to give something that's it's going to smooth out your skin. It's going to give a reflection. It's going to give a certain quality to the look of your skin, correct?
Correct.
So when you're pale, okay, as I say that, because again, different people, I have clients who are Black, who are Pakistani, who are Indian, who are Middle Eastern, different. I have literally every skin color, every ethnicity, as I say, as well, because what I try to do for them is to create an evenness and or a reflection. Because when you put that little bit of dye, even on darker skin, it creates a little bit of a smoothing effect and a reflection. Okay. So even in your photo, have you ever seen those photos where you're taking it and your skin just looks very like dry and dull? I don't care what color you are naturally. Okay. So that is why if you look at some of my brides and stuff and you're like, well, they don't really look like they have anything. I was like, yet they don't, the light doesn't get sucked into their skin, and it doesn't it bounces back off. So honestly, what I call a spray tan, it's a filter. It's basically, okay, you go on Instagram, you swipe through about to the third one and it brightens your skin up. It doesn't darken, it doesn't lighten, it brightens your skin, right? Okay. It gives that redness, which basically reflects the light and looks dewy, looks supple, things like that. That's what that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I will tell, no matter what color you are underneath, when you get a spray tan, you have to moisturize, okay? Because the spray tan itself, the chemical, it's a chemical, it's an all natural, but it's drying. It's a drying complex is what it does. So you have to put lotion on it. Otherwise, it's just going to look like dry, dark skin. Right. It's like you have to put something on it. You want it to reflect. Not to mention whether you have a spray tan or not, people need to use some moisturizer.
Right. I was going to say, I mean, I use moisturizer anyway. But
there's so many people. I have clients that they're like, I don't really moisturize. I'm like, okay, we need to have a talk. So, and it's just one of those that for my clients, it is a misnomer because it has been used. I mean, it has been used because it's been put on white skin, and we use the word tan, because we think, but when you go out in the tan, you're actually creating a melanin reaction. I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is I'm putting a dye on you is really all it is. I'm putting a micro-filtered henna type dye on your body. That's about all. Yeah.
That makes sense. And maybe like this, calling it spray tan is what like threw me off all these years, but because
it's like, oh, you have a tan, like what? But my thing about it, Rebecca, you still get tan lines when you go out in the sun.
Yes, I do.
Exactly. So my thing about it is if you were a bride or a bridesmaid and you've got to wear something off shoulder and you've been out in the sun, you're still going to see that line, aren't you?
Right. Yep.
So what I do is I come in and I blend out is what I do. And I create a nice smooth look. And when you have darker skin, because of the color of this, it doesn't necessarily make you darker. Okay. If you have white skin, you put brown on it, it's going to get darker.
Right.
If you already have darker brown skin, I'm literally just putting something on you that evens it out.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's why, but it's become one of those things of, people with pale white skin or even just medium skin want to be darker. Like Kim Kardashian is not that color. Beyonce is not that color.
Beyonce is not that color?
No, she's not.
Is she lighter or darker?
She's lighter and much more yellow undertone.
Okay.
Actually, I take it back. She's not really lighter, but her undertone is definitely much more yellow.
Okay.
If you look at a couple pictures, it's like she doesn't look as, how she always looks dewy and that just like reflects off of her.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
you look at her like
Beyonce.
One of the things is people don't look at her face because that's makeup. Don't look at her legs because those are hose.
Right.
Look at her chest.
Got it.
Look at her chest and things like that. And no, she's spray tanned. She is spray tanned.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I'm learning all the good.
I know. So the funny thing is I have things like, it's funny. So I just opened these up. I actually have some that like Tahitian. So these are little drops I can put in that adds like a little different tone. It doesn't last like the entire time of your tan. Again, all we're doing is dyeing the first few layers of your skin. The first few layers of your skin are dead anyway. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're just dyeing those. As you take a shower, you scrub off those. You basically get a new layer of skin every 28 to 40 days. Mm-hmm. So as that layer comes off, your tan comes off. That color comes off. So, it's just like getting eyelash extensions, getting your hair done. It's just something to make you, and for the unmelanated population, mm-hmm. Okay, which are not graced with beautiful dark skin. Mm-hmm. Because I have one of my best friends, she has like the deepest caramel color. And it's just so pretty. And I'm just like, there's no way. Like, no way. No. And, we talk about that. But in her family, too, we have to realize color and things like that are still an issue. For her, she's still the lightest, in her family, mm-hmm. And then I have spray tanned people who are very dark skinned, especially bodybuilders. Because think about this. If you don't put lotion on skin, no matter what color it is, it's going to look dry, right? Okay. And under those lights, it does not reflect. Mm-hmm. So that's why they get, even dark-skinned people will get a spray tan for a competition because it needs to reflect. And so that's what it does. Yeah. It's literally is a filter. It is like the biggest, it's the biggest lie. It really is. And it's like, people are like, you glow. And I'm like, it's spray tan, honey.
I mean, that's what we do in this industry, right?
That's what but it's fun, but
but it's
on
fun, right?
it's fun though. I mean, it's just like you getting nail extensions, or you
Right,
get eyelash
right.
extensions, or you do something else like that. But I love being able to, okay, so I have a lot of clients who have vitiligo as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I have clients who have birthmarks that are very dark and they want to be evened out. I have clients that, I mean, it's still one of those things. I have a couple clients that their ethnicity is Middle Eastern in their family, and they're the lightest ones, and they just don't tan. They just don't. And it sounds sad, but I wish it wasn't something that I wish it wasn't something that they worried about, but I like being able to provide them a safe way of getting a color that like makes them feel, some like,
Right, that they
that like
belong
makes them feel better about themselves,
right.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not changing you. I'm just putting a filter on it. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, because this, first of all, I'm like, my mind is blown right now. I'm like, oh, so maybe I should go get a spray tan and try this out now. But I was thinking about that, like, color, of course, is a huge issue anyways. It's a bigger issue right now in our country. And I think about that, so I'm darker, African descent. A lot of African women, darker women like me, like they're using like bleaching stuff to try to make them like lighter. And then lighter people want to be darker. And it's just like that whole concept, and like it blows my mind, because it's like it's almost like people are never satisfied with what they have. And it's like we'll spend, not that it's not fun and stuff, but it's like we'll spend money to become lighter or to become darker, but then it's like when you are darker, then you've got to deal sometimes with issues with being darker. And then it's like, in your own family, even in families, I hear families saying, oh, well, he's the light one, or she's the light one.
Oh yeah.
And the stuff like that. So it's like color is such a sensitive issue. So do you find that people, I mean, it's probably both. Do you find that you're getting people more who are doing it, like the average person coming to you on a regular basis, or are they coming for you for a specific like reason, event, photo shoot, something like that?
Honestly, I would say it's about 50-50. I mean, most of my clientele is coming to me. 50% of my clientele is an every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks.
Wow.
It's something that is like getting your hair done, getting your nails done. It's something that is just like, it just makes you feel, for a lot of women who are paler, when you get this color, you don't have to wear as much makeup. You don't like, I have no spray tan on right now because I had to get laser hair removal. So I was like, let's just take it all off. But like, I don't have to wear as much makeup, or again, it's that filter,
right,
that we do. And then the other half are like, I'm going to the beach, I'm going to a photo shoot, it's a bridal shower, I'm in a bridal party and I have to wear this dress. And things like that, and it's always a sage green or pale pink. I don't know why y'all do that. If there's any brides listening, stop doing that. Okay, no, you know what, I take it back, because they all need tans. So keep doing that, it's fine. It is something that it is hard, because I definitely see skin color. I love skin color. People think it's so weird when I look at them and I'm like, so you're a caramel undertone with mahogany, whatever. They're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, I'm studying skin like all day, and it is one of those that it sounds really funny. Even when I was younger, my grandfather was darker skinned and my sister is darker skinned, but then the next sister is very pale and blonde. And then, my mom is very pale with dark hair. And my dad is darker skinned with dark hair. I am not blonde. So I saw a lot of combinations of different skin colors and hair colors and different things like that. And it can be a touchy subject, especially if you be like, well, why would I want to do that? Why would I change it? And I'm like, I'm not changing. I'm just putting a filter. Like, you put on makeup, right? They're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, it's makeup. the funny thing is I actually have a lot of guys who come to me, farmer's tan for one. And I'm telling you right now, all guys, no matter what, get a farmer's tan. I don't care how dark, okay? And I have a lot of bald-headed guys.
Why do they come?
They wear a hat on the golf course.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
Got it.
And especially my one guy, he is like, he's like a tech exec, and he has a medium caramel tone. He called me. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I had to go to his house, and he does just I walked him. I have basically the same formula in a can that sprays, and I walked him through how to even out his head. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, it's not funny, but it is kind of funny.
No, it's funny. No, I laughed. No, he thought it was funny. But no, he had he had a white. I mean, comparatively, his top of his head was about 4 shades lighter, and he was bald. Like, how do you? He's got like a line, like all the way around. Like you know, how do you hide that as an exec? You can't. You know, that just looks ridiculous. So yes, we have to help out people. You know, a little bit.
But I guess I don't know the history. Maybe I should look it up now. I might. Mm-hmm. But where this obsession with being darker came from.
So, okay. So if we go back a little bit, back. Mm-hmm. Even if you look at back times, if you were of a certain class, especially when you talk about colonizations, you talk about Europeans and things of that sort. If you didn't have to work outside, what happened to your skin color? It was fair.
Yeah, it was fair.
You didn't have to work outside, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that meant you had money. You had other people who worked for you. Okay? Mm-hmm. So industrialization, we have different things like this, and that becomes one of those that goes back and forth. Again, there's a lot of different things. I can definitely get on my soapbox when it comes to colonialism and indigenous races and things of that sort, but let's not go there. Anyway, we could, but so at that time when I talk about the Europeans, and we're talking about like within that social caste systems and things like that. Okay, so then we fast forward and we have the industrial age and different things like that. And again, if you were out, you were dirty, you were darker, you know, different things like that. A lot of it had to do with like just coal, like you're just you were out in the sun, you were different things like that. Then it hit basically around the time of the 1920s. Before then, again, Victorian, you wanted to be fair. You were inside. You protected yourself. You see the women with the parasols and different things like that, right? You protected your skin, right? And that's also probably because they didn't know anything about skin cancer, and people were dying of they labeled everything as consumption or something else. But then at that time, then you had a new middle class, okay? The new middle class came through. They had time for luxury. Okay, they had time to go do things. They started doing things outside. Okay, so that meant going to the beach. That meant like going outside, playing tennis. Women started uncovering parts of them. Okay, so if you look 1940s, 1930s, like we didn't have the layers of clothing. So women were starting, God forbid, they showed their ankle. You know, or their wrist or things of that sort. And then when it came to Coco Chanel was the first to make it popular. She loved being outside, and she got freckles. And she got tan. And if you look, and she was like, I love it. It's fun. And so at that point in time, it became something of you had the luxury of time to be able to go out and enjoy the sun and have leisure time. That became something of a sign of status at that point in time. There were actually spray tan machines that looked like a gas deal that you could do. Now, granted, I do not want to know what that original formula was.
Right.
But it's still DHA, which they found out basically it's a citric acid. It's a natural compound. It turned brown and turned brown on skin. And they're like, oh, and so it became a product. And so some of the self-tanners and different things, they looked horrible. They were horrible back in the day. But people didn't have anything else to compare it to, and it was a color. Who cares, you know? Right. I mean, if you look at some of the makeup we used in the 80s, you know, it was bad. So can't compare that to anything. so they did, and the formulas were used, and it was a lot of cheap stuff, and it smelled horrible, and it had a lot of preservatives in it, and over the years it has still developed in different things like that, and it's been around forever. It has you have Jersey Shore, which everybody talks about. The guys are gym tan laundry, but they were spray tanning and things of that sort. So it has had a mixed history, but the view of having a tan was definitely associated with a freedom to enjoy the outdoors for luxury, not because you had to work. So that was one of those things. I know. So there's a lot of things wrapped up in that. When
right. Right. I'm like, we only have like 30 minutes, so I won't go there. But I'm like,
I know there's a lot. It has a lot to do with socioeconomic status. So it is one of those things. So going back to who my clients are now, people who work too much, can't go outside, and can't tan. The way it has flip-flopped.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's one of those of, they can't get outside, they can't do things, but I do correct a lot of skin discoloration and different things like that. So, yeah. Oop. I think I lost you.
All right. Well, we have a crying child in the background.
Okay, well, it would have been my crying cat, so that's okay.
Goodness.
Welcome to the world of Zoom meetings.
Right. I mean, you know what? I'll give him props. We've gone almost a year without him doing that. So
wow. I feel blessed that it was like, I feel grace that it was like for me. I'm like, yeah.
It's happened on another interview with someone else's child popping in. And of course I was like, oh yeah, let's just roll with it. It's fine.
It's fine.
But has never been my child.
Yeah, that is so funny.
But anyways, we're going to keep it because, that's just how it goes.
Yeah. No, it's a lot. And I, try not to get into it, but I'm very aware of those things. But that's one reason why when I talk about therapy and accepting and just being like, go with it,
Right.
Well,
my, I think my last question, just to kind of like bring it all in, is because, okay, so obviously this is on the platform of Runway to Life. And this all kind of ties into stuff that, Runway to Life deals with, and so I guess my question to you is, when I'm sure as you're talking to your clients and you get to know them, some stuff, comes out. So how do you have that conversation with someone who is dealing with just not liking their skin? And it may not come out on the surface, yes, you want to be darker and all that stuff, but how do you have that conversation with someone when you realize it's deeper than that?
A lot of it is, my appointments are only 30 minutes, so don't get a whole lot of time. And honestly, like, even though I am technically a therapist, I try not to therapize them. They're there to have spray tan. But one of the things is when I talk to them and people, one of the things I always tell my clients, as soon as I come in and I get that vibe from them, is I was like, what we will not to do, the rules of spray tan is you never apologize. So I don't want to hear, I'm sorry about this. Ooh, I have this, whatever. And I'm like, so you have a body that functions and you have parts. And I'm going to put a color on your skin. That's literally what we're going to do. And however, it is one of those that it's funny because the color doesn't change their skin. It literally is just a little filter that they put in. It's like a lipstick. It's like a lip gloss putting on someone. But I have to tell them, and I was just like, this is doing nothing but making you feel better about yourself. And if that works, then that's great. But there's nothing wrong with your skin. When I do talk to them, I tell them about the health of their skin, how that's more important. I said, when I'm looking at you, they're like, oh, you're looking at me. You know, they start off very, I always make the joke that most of them are like this by the time they stop, when they start, by the time I'm done, they're walking around like this. And I'm like, you can put your clothes back on now. It's all right. But it is something that, you know, it's that fine line of like, you don't want it to cover up people. You want it to enhance. And you want, if you're going to work in the beauty and fashion industry, it should be about bringing someone out of them. And part of mine too is self-care. If I tell them, I was like, if a spray tan makes you feel more confident, if a spray tan makes you feel better about yourself, if you will go and wear that dress or that pair of shorts, or you will go and you look at yourself and you're like, yes, oh my gosh, I look amazing today. You know, that you feel more confident in walking out the house, you know, then spray tans, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it is a small part of your self-care, you know, but you don't ever apologize to me for your body.
Yeah, I love that. I love you presenting it that way. And also, you know, I just love the education that I got on spray tans. But no, but I love.
We can delve deeper into.
I know I might reach out to you later to delve deeper because I really want to. But no, I really love how you say that. You know, never apologize. And I think, I mean, because of my misunderstanding of spray tans, I think for me even there was kind of a taboo about getting spray tan because I've been around people who like didn't want to admit that they, you know, go get spray tan and stuff. So it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, I did, but don't tell anyone. And like, you know.
I know and I tell people, and it's funny too, because I have a lot of guys too. And I tell them, they're like, oh, and I always ask them, I was like, did anybody say anything? And I don't ask them if they ask them if they got a tan. I'm like, what did they say? And they're like, oh, you're glowing. I'm like, that's great. That's all you need. That's all it is. Right. Nobody knows that they have a spray tan. Right. They just remark that they're glowing. And I tell them, I was like, if you, by the third compliment, you can tell them it's a spray tan. Like you don't ever need to tell them it's a spray tan. You just tell them it's your natural glow being, you know, shown. That's all. Right.
You're just, I don't know what the little saying is. I was going to say something cute, but I can't think of it.
I know. Well, no, it's like, I help your inner glow show. That's
there we go. Is that your
that's one of them. I'm like, you know, this is your glow. I'm just showing your glow. That's all.
There we go.
You know, and I try not to use the word tan or anything like that, but it's a color, it's a glow, and it really is. It's just a glow,
right?
You know, and we hope, and that's the one thing is like I tell my clients. I have one that I swear every time she comes in, you know, I come to her home and she looks like just depressed. And I'm like, so sad. I mean, she's just like out of it. And then as soon as she sees her tan, she's like jumping around and everything. And it's like the smallest thing. It didn't change anything about her. It did nothing. And it's literally, it's not any, again, you've seen people who've gotten a spray tan. It's like, or they get a tan. It's not like it's not like they change skin color. Right. They literally have a little bit of brown. Or you've seen anybody with a really great contour. It's like, okay, that's it. You know, and it's, you know, if it makes you feel better, it's like, you know, if you want to do purple braids, if you want to do whatever, if you want to wear bright red lipstick, if you want to wear blue lipstick, it's whatever, as long as it's not harming you and it's not changing who you are, if it allows you to express yourself in a way and it doesn't harm you in that capacity, then why can't you?
Right.
You know, why should you? But it should never be, but it does cross a fine line of like, you have to have it, you know, or, you know, it becomes a status thing of like, oh, if you don't have it, then you're just not that person, you know? And I'm like, but that's also why I donate a lot of services and I do different things. And, you know, I'm not trying to create an empire here off of spray tan, all my other stuff maybe, but you know, I love the feeling of 30 minutes of from the time I get there until the time I leave. And I've just got like the happiest person in the world, right? You know, and it's totally worth it.
Well, that's super awesome. I, like I said, I think I'm going to reach back around to you now and check this world out now. And open my mind, my eyes too. But I just want to say, you know, a real thanks to you and just chatting with me a little bit and, you know, sharing a little bit more. But before we sign off, how can people get in touch with you?
Lots of ways. Fairytanmother.com, of course, is my website. I have Instagram, fairytanmother. It's pretty easy across the board. It's just Fairy Tan Mother. You know, there's a couple other people I think out there. There's one in UK or something like that. Some people have tried to use the name, but I'm the only Fairy Tan Mother. And you can book online. You can check out stuff. My Instagram has a lot of before and afters, a lot of client photos, different things like that. Always call me, you know, if you have any questions, text me, email me, things like that. All my information is on there. Definitely if they go. And, you know, again, I like to collaborate. I like to do a bunch of stuff with different salons, boutiques. Just, you know, we love, like one I did with one salon, Grace Salon. We did blowouts and glow ups. So we did blowouts and then we did some spray tans with it. And we did it for, you know, a discounted price and looking at doing again. And the great thing with that is, you know, again, we look at portion of that going towards a cause. So that would be good.
That's awesome. And that sounds like fun. That sounds like a fun event. Well, thank you so much, Gretchen, again. I will be reaching out to you. So but I've enjoyed talking to you and just getting to hear more about, I mean, yeah, your industry and what you do, but just kind of, I feel like I got a little bit of an education today. So I always enjoy that. So well, thank you so much. And
well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. And hopefully, you know, someday here soon, we'll get to meet in person.
Well, that'd be great.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.